All right. Today's the day. I spent all day today prepping this, making sure it worked. We're going to actually deploy using Camel. We're not going to sit here and troubleshoot for hours on end until it's 6 in the morning again. We have improvements with the game too. We have a little scene now based on the tutorial I found. So we even have something that almost looks like a game, which is exciting. And we'll be putting this into a Rails app. We still have the button that'll change when we click on it. But the important part is we're going to have an automated deployment process today, probably, hopefully. And we'll be having this in a game. And just to demo it, because like after yesterday, I've lost all faith in my own abilities. Right now, on deanout.com, we have a working application. It's been deployed with Camel. You have a dev blog with Tailwind. And we have a game that does take us here in Brave. I fixed that too. And we have the exact same Godot project. So if this doesn't work, I'm formally declaring war on Camel, because they're Kamal, because at this point it's just, maybe it's jaded because I keep calling it the wrong thing. I don't know. But we're gonna do this. Okay, so terminal is gonna look a little bit different today because we're using a Ubuntu 22 installation, because I pretty much had to wipe everything off of my computer. I still have the one I use for videos, which is the 20.04, but for some reason building anything Kamal in here is now impossible. And I think I've narrowed it down. For some reason, it's getting totally confused when it creates the container in Docker to like do the actual build. Because I was under the assumption last night, because reading is really hard for me, that I was just somehow magically getting this code onto the server, which isn't how Kamal works. It's going to be building the image on your computer and then putting that on the server. For some reason, the build process with Kamal was breaking, but like locally I could build the Docker container. And then I went through the gems repository, and then in the gems repository, I found like the lines where they were talking about like different build steps. And I found out there's like a different container it's firing up. So then I went into my Docker desktop. And then here I found that they were like spinning up extra containers, and in those containers, they were running into issues were causing like the segmentation faults. And I was like, I don't know how to fix that. So the only thing I can really do is start from scratch and see if that fixes it. So I reinstalled like a whole new thing, set up chruby, yelled at chruby because I don't know why our like Ruby version managers are so confusing. But once I got that working, hopefully, once I got like 3.2.2 installed, it was pretty much smooth sailing, except for one step, which might be because of like which Linux distro I installed. I don't know yet. But that one's easy enough to fix. There's just one command you have to run to add Arch64 Linux to the bundle. And then once all of that's done, it'll work. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to create a new project, and we're going to play around with it and see if we can get this hosted. There's also a PR that was done for the link tree clone, and I want to take a look at that later. So we'll take a look at that one once we get there. Yeah, that's sort of the plan there. So we'll start by creating a fresh project and going from there, and then we'll see if we can get this deployed. So I'm going to go ahead and come over to DigitalOcean again and play everyone's favorite game of deleting the container and starting over. But I want to make sure I delete the right one, because that would be really unfortunate if I did the wrong one. Okay, so it's this one, the Godot demo. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Destroy. And then we'll come in here, destroy this droplet, copy it, paste it, destroy it. Come over to our YouTube project, create a new droplet, and then we'll get started. Okay, let's do this. So come in here, New York. The version here isn't going to matter too much, so we'll just go with like, no. Today, this is deploy day. Kamal falls today. I did not spend another 5 hours today to watch this thing torment me. All right, let me put in my SSH key real quick. Or is it right there? And then we'll just do this. And we'll say this is the Godot-demo. and we'll click create droplet. All right, that's running. Now we need to create a new project for this. So I'm just gonna say Rails new. I don't know, I'll call this stream. And then I'm gonna do -C tailwind. I'm gonna hit enter. So this, okay, Rails isn't fantastic. Probably because my Ruby is now set to, okay, so I have to do what? Like chruby Ruby-3.2.2, right? Okay, and now can I do my Rails new command? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's going to take some getting used to, but it should be fine. So this is going to run. This is going to give us Tailwind out of the box. We're going to have our styles. So when we deploy, we're actually going to have something pretty to look at. And we can go from there. I love your videos. Well, I appreciate that. I don't know if you'll love the live streams because the videos paint me as someone who almost knows what he's doing. The live streams are going to paint me as someone who probably shouldn't be allowed within 10 feet of a computer. So we'll see how this goes. But okay, I'm going to go ahead and open this up in VS Code. Move my notes over here. Although I shouldn't need the notes. And then we're just going to try to deploy this. We're going to say Kamal init. I should call it the right thing. Otherwise it's going to blow up on me again. Oops, I need to not do it in here. Where are we? Okay, let's off to a solid start. Let me rm-rf the stream and then cd into code. And then I don't actually know what I have in here. I have a streams directory, streams. And then in there I have Godot. So we'll cd into Godot. And then in here we can do a Rails new stream -C tailwind like that. Okay. So again, I'm going through, I'm cleaning up the entire setup on my computer to try and make everything work, but that's going to require a lot of rewriting of how I do things for the videos, which is fine because like I was saying the other day, like it's using 200 gigs of storage already. Like we're so far beyond maintainable for my little Linux distro. Okay. That's running. We have a new IP. We're going to come over to Cloudflare. We're going to update it. After I sign in, we just go do that real quick. But yeah, I tried everything with this. I was restarting my computer. I was going through like flushing my DNS. The stuff I tried didn't even make sense towards the end of it, where I was so desperate to find out what could have possibly broken. There we go, like that. Okay. And then eventually just wiping it was the right way to go. Which of course, it's always the one that you don't want to do that ends up being the right solution. Okay, so we'll come in here, we'll go to DNS, records, we'll edit this, we'll put in our new IP. There we go. Now the Rails server should be good. I'll cd into our stream, whatever we called it, and then we'll run a code dot. To open this up, we'll move this over. We'll trust this blindly. Then we'll do a Kamal init. We'll get a couple files in here. We have an env file, which means we have to come into our config and our master key. We have to copy the master key into our env file like that. And then I have to grab my key from Docker Hub, which I have over here somewhere right here. And then I just have to copy this like that, I think. We'll save that and we'll move this over. Okay, that's good. Next step, come into our deploy file. And here we're going to do the same thing we did last night, which is just completely steal from our video the other day. If I come into config and deploy. Okay, so we have all of this. We'll get rid of all these comments. Don't need them. And then in here, what we're going to do is we're going to start with our service. I'm going to call the service Deanin because that's the name of my domain, and I'm super unoriginal. Then we're going to grab the image, which is going to be my Docker Hub username and the name of the actual image. We're going to replace the servers. Instead of having this IP, we're going to make it a web. I think that's the role is what they call it in Kamal. We're going to have our hosts, which is going to be our IP address here, which needs to be the new IP address. And then we have our Traefik stuff, which is what's giving us our SSL. We then have our registry, which is pretty standard right here, username and our password for Docker Hub. We then have our environment, which just has our Rails master key. We then have our Trafic stuff right here with our options published to 443, oops, and our entry points. And then the last thing we need is our volumes. Just like that, and I'll tab this over. Okay, so this is our deploy file. That's now done, in addition to everything else. So now, if we try to run this, we're going to run into a similar error we ran into last night. It's going to be slightly different, but it's going to blow up the console, and it's going to be totally unreadable. But if you read through it close enough, it tells you have to run a bundle lock, add platform for AArch64-Linux. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We'll fetch the gem metadata, write that in there, and then I can do a Rails. We'll do a Rails G controller pages home. Generate a home page, and then we'll do a Rails G scaffold post with a title and a body of type text, like that. And then in there, we can then, or sorry, in our project, we can come into our routes, and we can switch our home page. We can set the route to be the, what is it, pages controller home action, which is supposed to be down here. That, and then we have our posts. And then we'll come into our actual home page, and we'll just add a link. So we'll say app, views, pages, home. And then in here, we'll just do a little bit of this. So with the Tailwind specifically, when you add the Tailwind without ESBuild, you get a layout file right here that actually has a main instead of just the yield tag, which is nice. And also my code's going to look a little bit different because I have the Ruby LSP running today from Shopify, because this is like, again, a new installation. And I guess this version works better than the other one, so we actually get some syntax highlighting. We also get some classes here from Tailwind out of the box, which is nice. And then our pages home page has like its own styling. You're a fan from Costa Rica? Let's go. Nice to see you here. Hopefully I can make you proud today. And then in our homepage, we're gonna switch the div here with just some random stuff. We'll say this is gonna be a article with a section. We'll have, let's see, get rid of this H1 with the pages home, and we'll just say this is our Godot on Rails project with a p tag that says something like, what is it? Powered by a link to Kamal. And the nice thing is now when you have like a broken tag here, it's actually telling me that, which is so much nicer than what I had before. But I think that's just because I had all those like outdated plugins or extensions. And what is it? It's kamal-deploy.org, like that. And then we want to give this a class because we're using Tailwind. We have to give this a class to make it look blue, which is text-blue-500, I think. There we go. And then we can come down here and we can close the section, and we can close the article. Like that. Got a big Costa Rica community. It's always weird to think about the fact that there's like people everywhere that watch the videos. Whenever I get the comments, I'm always amazed, and I like go to Google Translate trying to translate what I'm trying to say, and I'm sure I sound absolutely bizarre when I'm trying to do it. Thankfully, like when it's a German comment, I can like kind of fake my way there because I know enough German to sound believable, or at least I know enough German to like check the Google Translate. But for other languages, I'm just like, I hope this sounds okay. Which is why I usually like include the English next to it, where I'm like, okay, so if that didn't work, here's what I meant to say. Okay, so that's good. This is like very basic. But now if we run a bin/dev, we come over to localhost port 3000. It'll tell us to migrate. We run the migrations. This is working now. And then we can take this, stop the server, take a big breath in, a nice deep long breath, and then run Kamal setup. And if I'm not lying to you, this should be it. This should do everything for us. We can go entertain ourselves for a bit, and then we'll have a project up and running. It's going to tell us it failed with Docker. It'll install Docker, and then it'll do everything else. How good are Kamal's docs? I have the docs open. It's about to happen, guys. Be ready. Okay, so this is the entirety, as far as I know, of the Kamal documentation. Hello, Daniel. I hope you're doing okay today. 12:30. Jeez. Yeah, I'm hoping next week I can stream at like a more decent time. I'm totally, my schedule right now is just a mess. Yeah, so the documentation has like basic installation. It has a basic configuration. And then it sort of steps you through what the order of deployments are, I guess. That's okay. Configuration is where it probably could use a little bit of work. There's some nice stuff like using 1Password as a secret store. That's fine, but I prefer if it started like, I don't know, in order of things that you need, as opposed to just, I don't know, probably, maybe this is alphabetical. I don't know what the logic is here. But we have like down here, I think there's a MySQL database config block somewhere. It's like, where is it? Somewhere on this page, it tells you where to do like MySQL setup. And then you can translate that into Postgres. The reason why I don't like this particularly is I'm already lost. I'm trying to find like the second thing I would look for in the documentation. And I'm just like, where would you put this? Yeah, that seems like what they're doing. It's just random configuration. Like, I would really appreciate if there was just like a thing on the side here where I could click and find something, or just give me, again, like the same problem I have with the Rails documentation. Like, give me a search bar or something. So this is where it could be a little bit better. And I mean, you know, there's more. You're probably going to end up having to go to Google to find out a lot of stuff, or go watch tutorials. I'm still kind of new with this. There is someone covering it very well on YouTube. What is it? I'm going to go look for it. It's Kamal. I'm just going to look for the deploy. Kamal docs versus Rails docs. Rails docs, because there's more there, I think. Who was it? I have to go through the, okay, maybe not. Was it Postgres? To go through the YouTube search engine that doesn't give you any actual results. It's Sam Johnson. There we go. He's been doing a couple videos on deploying it. If you're not familiar, if you haven't subscribed, I'm gonna copy this, paste this in. He does a really good job of going through step by step for each of these things, teaching you how to do the deploying. But okay. It's not, there's no red text right now, which means that this is probably working. We might actually be making progress. Now, there is a chance this is going to fail, and I'm going to have to do the deploy one more time, although it doesn't look like it. Sometimes it fails the 7 attempts, and then I have to run it one more time, but hopefully we're okay. I'm so paranoid after yesterday. I was so miserable. For anyone that wasn't here, it was literally 6 hours of just the Kamal deploy command failing. Okay, so that's now deployed. And now if we go to .com/, or I guess we can just go to the URL. It's going to get some Rails guides love. Yeah, so with Rails 8, I don't know if it's with Rails 8, but they have said they've hired a designer. They are working on new Rails docs, which is fantastic. Maybe we'll get a search bar. I would love that. At the end of the day, Kamal is just the friends we make along the way. Yeah, it was a bonding experience for all of us, for sure. Okay, so this is now live. So if you go here, that is now being hosted by Kamal. It was literally that easy. All you had to do was a couple setup with like the env file, and now we're live. With the asterisk that if something breaks, it might take you 6 hours to figure out what's broken. 6 hours plus the 4 hours I spent today. Can you use Docker Compose with Kamal? I actually don't know. I'm assuming you probably can. But that might be a case where you wait for a Sam Johnson video to cover it. But okay, in addition to this, there is another, where is it? There was another tutorial series that I was following that I don't have open, which is, let me see. Okay, it is a Godot. Also, never click on like anything political, otherwise your entire home feed just gets immediately absorbed by it, which is tragic because now I don't get RuneScape recommended to me all the time. What is it? Godot procedural generation. So I watched like a video, or I watched 2 videos of Jackie Code's tutorial series on procedural generation. And they also have like a link in the description that had a tile set. So I bought the tile set, which means I think that gives me commercial rights. I don't know if I needed commercial rights to like talk about this on stream, but I thought it'd only be fair. So I did the donation. And then I followed along enough to have like a working tile set here. So we have like animated water. We have grass and trees and stuff in our game engine. And we still have our button that says Godot on Rails now, I guess, because I didn't know what else to put there. I don't think it's like anchored properly or resizable, but we can click this and we'll see the number go up. So now we're going to export this. We're going to put this into our Rails app, and then this should be live on the server. So we come in here to like project export, and we do the same thing we did yesterday, which is just going to be export project. If you don't have this, you have to go into like, what was it? I think it's editor and manage features. No, editor, manage export templates, and then download and install. And then you can go over to project and export, and we can export the project. We create a folder, which I just called export here. And then we can, let me delete this. And then I'll do this. And then we should be good there. Now we have to open that, which is going to look something like this. Come over to export. And this is all the files we need. So I'm just going to grab the export file or the export directory here. And I'm going to come over to our project. And then in public, I want to put it in here. I'm just going to grab the export and drag it in here. And then for this export, we'll rename this to, I don't know, game. It's going to be upset at me for a second, but then we have all of those files. And now if I do a bin/dev, we can at least test this locally. We'll come over to localhost port 3000. So this is still working. And then we can go to, what is it, like slash, it's going to be /game because it has to match our public directory. And then it's going to be /Godot.html because we're trying to get to this HTML file. We can run that, and then we're going to run into this error, which we had yesterday. And for this one, we have to come into our config, environments, and our development and our production. Our development we'll do first, just so we can test this locally, and then we'll also add it to our production. And I did find out the reason why this wasn't working in Brave yesterday was because I needed to turn on hardware acceleration. So that was another thing I had to do. But now that we have this, I can come over here, come into my config. We have to add these 2 headers. So if you want to add these headers, you can just do it like at the top here. And we add our embedder policy and our opener policy. And that should clear this up. So now we stop the server because we changed something in our development.rb. So we have to like stop and start it again. And then we can come over here and refresh. And we should get a loading bar. And now we have the game, which isn't centered or anything. That's not the point. We're just trying to get it working right now. So now that we have that, we want to push this up. But that means we have to do this in our production.rb as well. So we'll come into production.rb, we'll paste this in, save it. And then if we just type Kamal deploy, that should be it. That should be moving it from our computer to the server. The server will update magically and everything will just work. So I'll go over to deanout.com. If we go to like /game/Godot.html, this page doesn't exist yet. But it'll hopefully exist in like a couple seconds here. This was what I was hoping for yesterday, but instead it's just pain and suffering. I don't know why it was so annoying. And I still don't know if I'm gonna be able to save the other installation. So I'm gonna have to go through here and figure out like all the stuff that I need to pull out of here. I already grabbed like my SSH keys and stuff, which was also interesting because like copying them from one WSL instance to another one required me to like go through the path in my Windows Explorer. Because I guess if you, if you type WSL path space -w tilde, that gives you your actual path on your file system. And then you can come in there and then you can just kind of like navigate it like you normally would, which was interesting. And then you like copy it through there. Not really the best way to do it, but it worked. So I just grabbed like my SSH files and I just dragged and dropped them onto Windows and then moved them over to my other Linux box. Oh, excuse me. All right. And then, yeah, once this is deployed, then we can like clean up the homepage a bit and add a couple other features. And then we also want to go to the GitHub page for the Linktree course demo thing that we were working on 2 days ago, because there was a pull request put up by my absolute favorite hero that watches my videos. I don't know why he still watches them. He's so far beyond what I'm capable of. But he went through and he cleaned up a bunch of the code, added a bunch of new features. So he fixed the security issues that I was too lazy to do, added Darwin to the platforms, went in here, added a light mode, got rid of the has many users thing that was like blowing up my brain, and then did a couple other things. So we'll take a look at that. So the nice thing about this is it's automated. The downside is it's always going to take you probably like 2 to 3 minutes to get through this process. Yeah, he does this a lot. Like he'll just send me an email where he's like, the Docker file you made was good. You know, I thought it'd be nice if you added a couple things. And like, it's such a nice way of saying, I've done your job for you. Every time I look at what he did and I feel like that junior developer where I'm like, my mind's just been blown in the code review where he just goes through and he's like, oh yeah, also we have Gravatar support now. I'm like, oh, okay. You're a wizard. That's what I'm learning here. Okay, where is it? So if we come over here to the application, we go to /game/Godot, and this is now working. So you can now come here and you can, I don't know, press the button if you want to. So that's part 2. We now have a thing that's live that's actually visible. So now we can go through and we can just like play with it a little bit and see what we can do. Where's my notes? My notes are over here. Okay. So yesterday we mentioned doing like a dev blog, because like you have a game, so you'd also want to have some kind of blog where you can do like updates or whatever. So we can do something like a scaffold for some posts with a title and a body of type text. And again, because we're using the, oh, did we already have that? I guess we can just go here. If we go to /posts, I guess I already did that. Because we have Tailwind, we have like a neatly styled application here. So we can say like, check out today's version. We added water and actual game. Something like that. We click create post. Again, it's not much, but it looks better than what you get by default if you don't have like any of the styling. Like when you do the ES build, it still looks not great. But yeah, we have this. So let's go ahead and let's create some links on the homepage. So we have powered by Kamal. Let's add another section. So we'll say like, we'll come over here and do a BR. Oops, BR. And then we can do another section, and this one will be, Copilot is so helpful sometimes. For this one, we'll just say like, I don't know, play our game. And then we can create a link right here. The post page again. Yeah. If you go to /posts. And here you can see the excellent security policy that we have. Right now, probably safe to do that. In the future, probably want to make sure that can't just push whatever you want to. Okay, so we have like the p tag. We can say like check it out, and then we'll do a link to here. And then this needs to go to a specific route, which we'll say is like our game path. You could also just hard code it right here, but it makes more sense to probably put that in the controller, I'd imagine. And then for the class, we'll do a class right here where we just grab this text-blue again. Like that. And then if we go to a local host and we start the server, hopefully. Okay, just decides it wants to open up Twitter instead. The game path doesn't exist. So then we have to come into our routes. So it's going to be config and routes.rb. And in our routes, we can create a quick little game route. So say, the other thing we can do real quick, if we go over to deanout.com, we can go to /up. You can see that up health route, which is what he uses to check if everything's working. So if you come here and you see like a green screen, that means you're healthy as far as it knows. So that's like built into Rails now. Whenever you start a new app, you get that. But okay, we need a route here. What did I put? I think I did this. So I just said get game, go to pages controller, home action. Oops. And then as game. So it's just going to be game path. So we'll say like this is going to be game path. Then we come into our controllers, our pages controller. We do a def game. And then in our controller here, we can do a redirect to wherever we need to go to. So here, in this case, we're redirecting to /game, which is in our public folder, /game / and then Godot.html, like that. So then we can refresh. And then let's actually close the section here, like that. And let's actually refresh the local host and not the server. Okay, so here we have the link now. So now if we click on this, it'll take us straight into the game, which is nice. And then we can also add another one for our little blog thing. So we'll do like maybe one more below the game. Or we can say like read our blog. Or like dev blog. I don't know. Dev blog. Sure, why not? Read about our development here. And then we'll change this to the post path, like that. Then we can also like just add an exclamation mark at the end. Again, just small stuff. And then once you have this, we can then stop the server and do a Kamal deploy. And again, you're taking like a minute or two here. So maybe you want to like, I don't know, split up your terminal or something into a second terminal. But you'd also just like get up, go grab a coffee and come back. But it is nice when it works. You know, it's a fairly automated process. Just hope that it works when you press those buttons, because if it doesn't, then you're going to have a bad time. Yeah, I had no idea because I was like learning about the tile maps and all that because I haven't really done any 2D stuff before. I had no idea what a pain it is to do these like overlapping tiles that have like gaps and stuff in them where you can see the tile underneath with the layers and then the rounding of the corners and all the different cases you have to do. And this was so much. Always amazes me what the game developers go through. And then we're just over here like copying and pasting entire nav bars. We're like, yeah, that looks great. Okay, let's come over to the Linktree stuff while this is running. So what I'm going to do, because I don't think I have any of this installed on this machine. So we'll grab this. Where is it? Over here, and then we'll just clone this. I'm hoping I think I should have Git, right? I probably have Git. Let me open this up. Okay, and then we'll cd into /code/streams, I guess, and then we'll do a git. Yeah, okay, a git clone for this. Ah, fantastic. I have to set permissions on all of these things. All right. Let's see. For here. Oh, wait, it's going to be dash. Yeah. / that. Permission denied. Could not read from repository. Oh, that's right. I had this in a different location. Okay, so now I gotta let me do this. We'll move this one over here because I have to go open up my GitHub profile. We're gonna do some cleanup on the side. So yeah, if you go to the website now, you should see all of those changes there. You can go to the blog if you want to. You can go check out the game link. And I'll be pushing this up to GitHub in a bit here so that we can look at the code if we want to. I'm just adding my key to the Git account. So one of the problems with having to move to like a different Linux distro. There we go. Okay. Cat SSH. Like this, right? Yeah, okay. Boom, and let's just say this. That, right? Yeah. And then I have to log in with my phone, of course, because there's always like 20 different steps you have to go through for this stuff. Close that. Let's do this. Let's grab this one. Like that. Successfully added the key. Okay. And then does this work now? Or are you still going to be upset with me? Permission denied public key. Huh. Oh, it's always something, isn't it? Oh, I see. Okay. Sudo chown. Is this not what I just did? Cannot access. Oh, I bet that's what the problem is. I'm not in the right user, am I? Let's see. Switch user to. No, because this is owned by this user account. So why are my SSH keys not owned by my user? It's just not even telling me. I wonder if this is an issue because I copied it to the Windows file system and then over here. Well, no, because I don't normally have that problem, right? Oh, I can't find it. Such a weird problem to run into. It's always something. Root at that. I'm pretty sure if I come over here, I do that WSL command, I can come into here. Okay, let's move this over. There's got to be some kind of protection or something. Windows file system, I guess. Okay, here we go. We just open up something like ChatGPT and we just ask it. Maybe it knows what's up. Although I have to say, lately ChatGPT has been like the least helpful thing imaginable. Okay, well, I already changed the SSH directory. I don't know why you're telling me to do that again, but we'll try it. Copilot is the most useful thing. Okay, you know what? That's fair. Copilot chat is worse somehow. Copilot chat is like, I don't know. It's like if you made like a custom GPT and you just said no less, and that's the entire prompt it's working on. Okay, let's cd into /stream now. Cd into /code/stream. Streams. Okay. So we're gonna move this over here. Actually, we don't need this right now, so we can cd out of here, and then we can clone this into here. Oh, what am I doing? Git clone like that. Hey, there we go. Okay, finally. Come in here. Installing Foreman. You don't have permissions for the... Of course not. So we have to chruby dash 3.2.2. And then... Okay, so that's at least doing something now. But it's going to be upset with us because this is 3.2.2. This specifies 3.2. So do a code dot real quick. And then you can come in here and then we'll just update this. Again, this is like a different project than the Godot one because the Godot game is working. You can go to dnout.com if you want to go see that. Here, 3.2. Ruby version is here. Oops, 3.2. So it's gem file, Ruby version, and then hopefully it's okay. Okay, and then I can close all of this SSH stuff now because we fixed it. Yeah, I was really bummed about the Copilot chat because when they announced it, I was picturing like the chat GPT 4 with like Copilot, and instead it just turned into like a worse version of, I don't know, GPT 3 that also doesn't know code. And it, like the only thing it knew was like JavaScript at the time, and saying it knew JavaScript is being very generous. It was like barely capable of writing a test if I gave it the entire code for like a 5-line program, 5-line function. Okay, so if we do a bin/dev. Okay. Oops. Let's do this. Come over here. Port 3000. Everything went boom. Because we don't have Postgres. Okay, so now we got to do that. Okay. Or is it just PSQL? Oh, actually, no. Oh, sudo service. Oh, Postgres. It's already running on 5432. Service. Like that. Hey, there we go. Okay. bin/dev. Okay, now the role doesn't exist. Oh boy. Okay, time to figure out how to do this again. What do we want to do? We want to create like a default, what is it? A default role for the user on the server. So where is it taking me? Why is there a link to the Twitter page for this? We want a Postgres create role for default user. Okay, this is not going to be helpful. Okay, let's do this. Move this over here, and then let's close this, and then we'll do one of these. This is in code slash, or no, is it? Yeah, code cd stream, and then link tree. Okay, and then in here we need to create this somehow. Okay, let's come over here. Like this. Okay. It's not one thing, it's another. Okay, there we go. So we have to create role Dean with login password of whatever we put in there. And then we have to modify the user, right? Because I didn't do that right. Modify the role. Paste, and then this is going to be link tree. What is this called? Let me just move this over. This is going to be our config database.yaml. Yeah, it's just link tree. Okay. Okay, and we need to give this like every time create database. Link tree demo. That. Oh wait, it's not demo, it's development. Oops. Factory development. Okay. And then we need the last step. It's going to be this. That. Okay. Now if we stop the server and start it again. Migrations are pending. Okay. Beautiful. That's some of our problems. Some of our problems solved. Okay, and now we're running into asset pipeline issues. Rock file. Scroll up and see if it's mad about something. Unknown command, so bun's not installed now. Okay. Yeah, I made this project when bun was like the thing everyone was talking about. I really should have just stuck to basics. Okay. Like that. Try running bun. Oops, bun. Oh, that backspace is going to drive me nuts. Settings. Okay, I'll just have to be careful while I'm streaming. I'll fix that later. It's not a big deal. Tried bun on release day and it was so buggy that you uninstalled it. Yeah. Yeah, that was a questionable decision on my part. It was, it's not necessarily that I ran into bugs with it. It's just like the hype died pretty fast with it. Oh, bun install. And now we can do a bin dev. That said, I do like how fast it is. It is nice when you use it. Switch file or directory build CSS. The power of Zig. I've been hearing a lot about Zig lately. The problem with like hype that comes from anything Rust adjacent is it's usually not, the staying power is a lot more powerful than the JavaScript staying power, it feels like. Like when you get something that low level that's that strong, it tends to actually back up what it's talking about. You know, you get all these other frameworks and tools where they're just not impressive. Not as impressive, I guess. Okay. Yeah, exactly. The Kamal issue. Okay, so let's come into our proc file. Waiting for file changes. Switch file or directory. So let's come into our package.json. What was that? That was watch CSS. Style sheets. Dear Lord. Okay. Okay. Is it like yarn-v? No. Okay, so do we have to install yarn as well? Where's yarn go? Like that? I see. I'm dumb. Okay. Stop this. Let's do a bin/dev again. Hey, we did it. We have the link tree working. Okay. Come into here. Pull request. Go into the files changed. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's beautiful. Also beautiful. It's fine. Like, full disclosure, I looked at this earlier, so I already know that I'm happy with what the choices were. This was where I was getting confused on the profile themes, but it looks like he managed to make that work. Of course. And he also sets a default value, which is really nice. Yep, grabs all the unique themes. That makes sense too. And then in the seeds, he adds the Gravatar stuff and the themes and all the other stuff. So we can hopefully view all of that. Okay. We'll confirm this. And then we'll come over here. Wait. Bun lock and gem lock. Do. Let's do this. Was it? It was the bun. And it was the... You'd like to have made the interface with Tailwind and made a pull request? Oh, yeah, no. You did plenty with creating the interface to begin with. And the gem file lock, was that the other one? Where is it? Yeah, gem file.lock. So we'll do this, and then we can do a git pull. Or wait, we have to do a git stash. Git pull. Something like that. Oh. What's it upset about? Oh, right, because of the Ruby versions. Okay, so we'll do 3.2 now, because we switched that. 3.2. Just come in here real quick. And then we can do a bin/dev. There we go. But we want to stop this and come into the seeds. And then we want to do our seed file again. So we want to do Rails db:/seed. And we can do a bin/dev. We should be able to log in. And we have default user. We do dean@example.com with a password of password. Although this uses my actual email, which is funny. That's fine. We'll log in with this. Okay. So we have our default profile picture here, which is cool. And then our appearance and all this stuff. So I'll just say like software dev, and our name will be Dean. And then if we choose a file, we can make sure this works too. Let's go to pictures, profile pictures, grab this one, update. Okay, and that changes to nice quality there. Changes to like the space, and that looks cool too. Okay. Well, let's add a link here. I don't know, Twitter, HTTPS, twitter.com/whatever. There we go. And then if we make this visible, we now have our Twitter link. Okay, cool. So seems like pretty much everything here is going to be working. As far as I can tell, come into the analytics as well. And we have all of our analytics here. There were a couple things I learned today, which were interesting. There was one from a tweet. If we come over to Twitter, I think I liked the tweet, but I liked a lot of tweets today, so it's really not helping. 'Cause I was watching like all of the moon landing stuff. Here we go. This one in here. Hello, Jose. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Right here. If you're using something like Ahoy, it'll track visits if Turbo 8's InstaClick is enabled. So it looks like in the future, something to be aware of is like hovering over links might potentially be counted as a view, which would be a little weird for like the analytics. Because of course there's always something. But for right now, I think this is fine. My only real concern is like if you're loading the page right here, is this going to be counting it as views? But it's probably, because I think how we counted this was, I guess page loads was one view and another one was clicking on the link was another thing we were tracking. So this might mess stuff up. And then also like this height's going to need to be changed because it doesn't make sense that the height only scales based on the number of links we have. And we'll switch this to what is it? youtube.com/whatever. That, and then we'll do one more for website. Create link, and then we can do another one for what do we call it? Like Godot game. Like that. Let's enable these. Go through here like this. Okay. So I click on this, I go to the link. Apparently dnout.com refused to connect. But that at least works. Okay. Small amounts of progress. Telling you this cough is never going to go away. Okay. So what I'm probably going to end up thinking about here, what I'm going to end up doing in the future is going through and probably just going to rebuild it, go Tailwind from the start, clean out everything, do the refactors that I want, build it from scratch, and make sure I make notes along the way for all of the different stuff. Because although I like broke it up into PRs and issues, there were times where I just couldn't be bothered, and I added like 4 features into one ticket. I just pushed it all up because I was like, who cares? But if I'm going to be doing like videos on this, I'm going to need to make sure that I'm doing it in like the right order so that we still have everything. Oh, okay. So that's one. We have a couple things here we changed. Let's do a git add, git checkout -b. I don't know, Ruby versions. The man, the myth, the legend. That is a high bar for someone who couldn't deploy a Kamal application for 6 hours yesterday. Okay, so switch to new branch, and then we'll do a git add dot git commit -m. Switch to Ruby 3.2.2. Username and host name. Okay. There we go. You can come over here. It's not my fault. It was yeah. See, the problem is I don't think, like, now that I know what I know, I don't think it was Kamal's fault. Probably. Because it seems like it was a problem with my setup in particular, but I don't really know. It's just so weird because I didn't change anything from when I made the video until when I did that stream, and somehow the whole setup just broke. I don't know what happened. Unless maybe when I went through and blew away my Docker containers the other day, maybe whatever was in there that I used for the video for that build container, because like it creates that buildx build kit, whatever. The one that was already in there, maybe that was from like a different version, and that's why it worked for me 4 days ago. But I was not amused last night. Okay. So we have that. We have this. Now checked off a couple items from the to-do list. Now, if I remember correctly, there were some questions I got on the Godot video I did forever ago. I don't know if I want to try to address those or not, or if I just want to mess around with it, or what the plan is. But I think there was, or maybe it was like the 3JS video. No, it was the Godot one. Or someone was asking if there's a way to like, what did they say? Like link this up with the Rails database, which, I mean, they're just asking about like API calls or something. Let me see. Be such a weird thing to do, but maybe. Do like a total number of times the counter button has been pressed type thing. Okay. So we could do like a scaffold, store it in there, and then I guess the question is like how much time is the overall setup for this? Because I feel like if I spend a decent amount of time on the like creation of the Godot project, it really only leaves me with like 4 or 5 minutes to configure the Rails app for deploying. So maybe this is good enough for now. And then we just come into the actual Rails app for this. Make sure it looks a bit better. Maybe add like user, let's just do that. We'll add user accounts so that you can restrict the dev blog. CD into Godot. Hey Dev, I love you too. Okay, let's come in here and we'll just check. So in our stream, right? And then let me just check that the Ruby version persisted. It did. Okay. In here, what we want to do is bundle add devise. And then we can, wait for this to finish. Do a Rails G devise install. Rails G devise user. Okay, and then bin/dev again. And we can come over to our post controller. We'll do a before action, authenticate user, all this stuff except for index and show works for me. Do I want to do, maybe it makes sense to do like admin accounts. I don't know, because I guess the question is like, what do I expect like the person with the least amount of information watching this? It's probably going to be like a Godot developer coming in here that doesn't know how to use Rails. The Rails devs can just go watch a Godot tutorial for the Godot part. But for the actual Rails part, it's kind of hard to go find tutorials for just about anything. So maybe what I do is I say, create admin accounts. Okay, so let's do roles. Let's come into models, user, do like an enum for the role. Like that. Rails G migration, add, what do we want to do? Add role to user. And then I think the videos, the ones where it made more sense, I think I did the migration as a string. So let's check on that. Let's go to like Rails admin or Rails user roles enum string. I don't know. I think you do the roles with a string, so that it's easier to like rename these and move these around. If you do like the integer, I think moving them around is where it gets confusing. I just remembered like doing it one way at one point, and then someone came into the comment section and they're like, why would you do it like this? You're an idiot. You know, the usual very pleasant comments you get from people where they're offering very constructive criticism. So here they have it set to an integer. Yeah, you know, the polite internet users. Let's just leave it as a string for now. We'll leave it as a string. We'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, we just roll back the migration. db migrate. Rails C. Actually, let's do a bin/dev. Let's go look at the user accounts real quick. And I'm also going to close like all of these things. Close that. Close that. Close that. Yeah, no, like I've literally had comments that are like, "You've wasted so much of my time. Go play in traffic." It's it's wild the things people say because the video didn't work for them. Okay, so let's come over to /users/signup. This page doesn't look great, but we can do dean@example.com with a password of password. Okay, so that creates the user account with a role of nil. That's fine. Now if we go into our console, we can do a user equals user.first, and then we can say user.admin exclaim. Okay. So by doing the exclamation mark, because we have the enum here, we get a question mark where we can query what the role is. We also can exclaim it, which is like doing an update set role to that role for that user. So now the user here should be a admin, if I'm not mistaken. You can do a bin/dev, use a string for the enum to find it easier to maintain. Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. I can just never remember like how to do it. Okay, and then we can come over to our home page for this. And again, this application we're working on here, this is live right now if you want to go check it out. It's not interesting, but like it has a Godot app running in it. So if you want to like make a game and host it online, you could do that, I guess. But But the code will be up on GitHub at some point, and I'm also going to do like a dedicated video for this. So there will be like an actual tutorial you can follow along for, so you don't have to sit here and like watch me flounder about while I'm figuring this out. Okay, homepage right here. Let's do one more like this. We'll just say, I also need to put a formatter in here, like this. No, we'll do it like this. Probably want to do. I don't know. I'm gonna do some spaghetti code for a minute while I think my way through this. Everyone look away. Look away. Do as I say, not as I do. Current user.email. UUIDs for primary keys and people hate me. Yeah, I've seen quite the primary key or the UUID primary key discourse on Twitter. I'm fine with whatever you want to use. Like, just tell me when I come in, and I'll get used to it. I try to be a bit more reasonable there, but it's really funny to see like how worked up people can get over this stuff. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say you're logged in as this, and then here we'll say if you're an admin, if current underscore user dot admin question mark. We'll link to the new post path. Easy way to get love comments is to tell that React View has more benefits than using Hotwire and Stimulus. Oh, trust me, I know. I've made that mistake before. People were very, very understanding of my opinion of React being probably the better choice for employment. But then, like, my argument is always the same. Go look at Ruby jobs and tell me where all the jobs are that are using Hotwire and Stimulus. You know, like, sure, for your own SaaS, use Hotwire and Stimulus if you want to. That said, like, again, there was for those of you that don't know, Mackenzie Child is playing with Rails again, so what the hell is going on? Jesus Christ. I hate this app. If you go to Mackenzie Child, what's his? What's his Twitter? Okay, we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. Rails 12 and 12. It's actually scary to open this app on stream, I'm realizing, because the last 3 days that I've opened this app, I've seen like disembodied people on it, on my homepage. So that's actually one of the milder things that I've seen on my homepage. Still weird though. Let's see. Okay, where is it? Maybe I have to get rid of the spaces. There we go. Please tell me he has a Twitter link in here or an Instagram. That works. Let's try this. Yeah, there we go. Okay. He was in here. He was asking, is using Rails for the model / controller and React for the view layer a bad move? I really like React's components mental model, but Rails just feels way easier for the back end side of things. Like, this is the kind of thing where someone just, they're already like twitching, where they're like, oh my God, we can convert him to Hotwire / whatever. And I was like, dude, if you want to use React, just go use React. It's going to be a little bit more complicated, but you'll probably enjoy what you're doing more. And like, that's where you want to be. But if you even ask a question like this on the Rails subreddit, you're going to get a bunch of people who are like, why would you do that? Do you hate me? They take it so personally. Okay. Okay. So we have this users. And for here, if we're not logged in, you could say like Using inertia.js with Vue on Rails. Inertia.js. I've had so many people ask me to cover inertia.js. Single page apps without building an API. Interesting. Script setup. Huh. This might be one worth looking at. So do you use like Vue as your, you like using Rails as an API, or is Vue like with the built-in into Rails version of it, I guess? Inertia is actually a thing. I don't know. Oh, actually, it looks like it's used by the Laravel screencast website that we saw when we looked at the Laravel website. Rails community OU big time. I don't know. I feel like a lot of what I do is just on the edge of it could be helpful and it could be hurtful. It's kind of built in. You don't need an API. Okay, I see. Yeah, I personally like it built in because a lot of the API stuff just feels like a lot of work. Like if I can avoid that, I'm going to avoid it. Else, create an account. I don't know. Well, we can just say you're not logged in yet. We'll do 2 links or 2 p tags maybe, or just say create an account. I'll do one more without a formatter, of course. It just says login. Or we could do like already have an account. I don't know. Something like that. Oh, geez. Okay. And then this is an H1, which we don't. Get rid of that. Okay. Current user admin, create a post. So let me see if the user is use this gem, inertia Rails. Oh, so there's like an actual inertia gem too. Good to know. Yeah, because usually whenever I get one of these, one of those comments that's asking me to cover something, I'm assuming that what they mean by that is it's none of it exists in the Rails ecosystem, and I'm going to have to like stitch something together. It always scares me. Yeah, this seems pretty intuitive. I'm going to add that to the to-do list. User.first.admin question mark. Not an admin. User.first.admin. Huh. But why? What am I doing wrong this time? Is it roles? Is that what I have to do? No, okay. Let's see. Role is a string that can be admin or user. And then we can do a Rails C user.first.admin question mark. False. Exclaim it. Still false. User.first. User equals user.first. User.admin. Huh. User.role. Oh my God. Am I going to have to go watch another one of my own videos? Okay. Yeah, whatever. What is this? me pull it up over here. Roll in. This is one of the interesting things. The more videos I make on this, the more I end up just watching my own videos while I'm making stuff for my videos. And then people are like, how do you know all this stuff? And it's like, I'm literally just stealing my own work over and over again. The roll is a string. Maybe that'll give me something. And then 2 roles. Admin enum string. Different models. Oh, that's probably one I did with like actual different user models. Okay. I see. Okay, so let's do this. We want to admin is admin, and then do this for an after initialize. Set the default role if it's a new record. Suffix of true, and then let's do a Rails C. User equals user.first, user.admin role. True. User. Okay, role is now admin. Okay, and then the suffix true is just what adds the underscore role there. So we can get rid of the suffix, and we can reload. We can do a user equals user.first, user.admin question mark, and now we don't have that suffix. So if you want to have to type underscore role so it's a bit more clear, you can do that. Otherwise, we're fine like this. So now if I do a bin/dev, Dean should be a admin account. And now it says create a Kamal. So let's come in here and let's say create a post. And this will link to not the Kamal docs, but the new post path like this. Click on that. That takes us here. And then in the post controller, we authenticate the user. We probably also want to do like a before action authorize admin, sure. And then if we refresh, that'll throw an error. So let's come into like our application controller, say def authorize admin, less current user and admin. So we're doing a check to make sure the current user exists. If it does, then we can check if that user is an admin. But this needs to be a question mark. And we can refresh. Okay, so now if we come in here, we can visit this. If we open up an incognito and come here, it takes us to the sign in page. And then if we go to the sign up page and log in as john@do.com with a password of password, and then try visiting this, takes us back to the home page. Okay, so now that's admin restricted. We can do something. Let's come into the DB and the seeds file. Create an admin user. And then we could say user.create email of admin at example.com. Password. Okay, wait, hold on. Password. Password confirmation. And then for the role, we can do user.roles and then grab the admin like that. If we do a db:/migrate real quick, a Rails db:/migrate, that should work. Let's do a Rails C and do a user.last. User.last. Email password role is this. Okay, let's just do admin then. Rails db:/migrate. Rails C. User.last. But why? Why are you mean to me? No password confirmation rule. Paste it in. Oh, I ran the migrate. You're right. Oh my God. So why you don't do this stuff at like the middle of the night? What am I doing? Yeah. I should have been running this. Okay. So this now works. It's just I've now created the account manually. Good Lord. Okay. So that's fine. Now the question I have, because I don't think I tried this last time. How do we have to set, I guess we have to set up maybe in the Docker file or something, but we'll see. So again, we can do a Kamal deploy. This is the current state of the application right here at dnout.com. It's these three. We can run this and then we can just see what it does. Ideally, we're just creating like the ability to create user accounts so that if for some unknown reason, someone who knows Godot but doesn't know Rails watches this, they can hopefully follow along and get something that gives them some kind of platform. And then like, who knows, maybe that's how we trick a bunch of Godot developers into picking up Rails because they realize how easy this is to use. Maybe we get really lucky and Kamal works for all of them out of the box. I'm hoping and praying here. And then they just like start using Rails because they're like, oh, this is a great way to deploy web applications. I don't think that's how this story is going to end, but yeah, no, you're right. There's no one who's going to be using this. It's the only way I keep myself going sometimes. Need to convince them to drop Godot and switch to Hotwire. Oh, geez. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty cool. Like, if you come here, you can click on the game. And then if you know more about Godot than I do, you can make an actual game here that you could play. The only thing that you should be aware of is, like, when you do this in the like, web mode, you're going to, like, the lower graphics settings, I think. Open the network tab. Is it that bad? How do I do this without? Oh boy. Let's do this. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be winning any sort of Google page speed scores, that's for sure. But we do these things not because we should, but because we want to. Reminds me of Blazor downloading the whole .NET library. Or like visiting all those websites where they pull in jQuery so that they could have like one button do one thing because they were too lazy to do like a document.find by ID. That was always my favorite. And you still see that sometimes when you like look at Stack Overflow answers and then there's just like a random answer where they mention in, like adding jQuery in. And then there's someone who like 10 years ago was like, you shouldn't suggest this because what happens if jQuery stops existing? And then the guy who's suggesting to just pull in all of the jQuery libraries, like, what are you talking about? That would never happen. Did the Docker deploy turn out to be something with DigitalOcean? No, it actually ended up being a, when you run Kamal, it creates a build kit container. And for some reason, this container in my other WSL for the Ubuntu 20.04, this one can't build it anymore, which is the one I used for like all my videos, including the Kamal video like last week. This one just, it's throwing a segmentation fault in this container that Kamal creates to build the image. Have you already been sued by DigitalOcean? No, I haven't. They're probably looking at it like, okay, his cost is going up. We're winning. He may be spinning up 20 servers per night, but we're still winning. Yeah, so like in this container, I was running into that issue. So then I created this new like installation for Ubuntu 22. I had to reinstall Ruby and Rails, and I had to use like a Ruby version manager. So I used chruby, and then I had to figure out how to even do that, because let's be honest, Ruby version managers could be better. But then I recreated the application. I ran into one issue, one error, and that error just, after I looked through it a bit, required me to run whatever that command was. I have it somewhere. Let me open up Discord. There's like a command to set the build platform. This one. Remember to run this command to fix the build platform. Oops, build platform issues. We can say bash. Is this one? Bundle lock add platform for AArch64 Linux. And then once I did that, sued by DigitalOcean. No, it's like yesterday, every time something wouldn't work, because I thought maybe it was a DigitalOcean issue, I would just come in there, I would delete the droplet, spin up another one. And like at some point, they've got to be sitting there like, is this a bot farm? Why is this guy just spinning up like hundreds of droplets in a single night, in like the dead of night? What's he up to? So the running joke we came up with was like, I'm going to get a letter from the CEO that's telling me to please stop. But yeah, after we got this, this seemed to fix it. I haven't run into an issue yet. We've deployed it a couple times. But I didn't run into an issue the first time, and it still happened, so I don't know anymore. Yeah, it'd be really cool if there was like a way to see my history of like, can I see that? Is there like a DigitalOcean droplet provision history? Is that a thing? I want to see an individual droplets thing. It doesn't look like there is. I'd be really curious to see how many of these I spin up per year. Considering the fact that I only ever really have like one or two running, the fact that I spin up probably north of like a couple hundred. I can't imagine I'm their favorite person. Yeah, the struggle was real. And the worst part is like the solution is so specific to me that it's not even like I really gained a lot by solving the problem. Because now I make the video. When I go to make this video, it's just going to be, yeah, just run Kamal. And if you run into issues, like I don't even know how to start to help you. So I just have to hope that, you know, this is something that only happened to me because, yeah, you gain ego. I don't know. I don't know if the gain from today cancels out the loss from yesterday. I got off stream last night or this morning, and I went downstairs. I warmed up some leftover pizza. I had the pizza, and then I just sat there and did a 30-minute think before I got ready for the day. I was like, what have I done? 6 hours, accomplished nothing. It was almost like I accomplished like negative amounts of work, because towards the end of the night, we just completely nuked the entire project and just went to whatever I did in the video. So like even like the stuff with the Godot public folder stuff wasn't even in there anymore. Just a blank app where we just had a Kamal deploy file in it. And it still wasn't working. I was like, good. But why? Why is this my life? This is actually similar to what we did in one of my undergrad courses. We did, because we had to do like a project for our software some software business class. And we just couldn't take it seriously because the guy, we joked and we called it like intro to buzzwords because every word out of his mouth was like kilolines of code, just, like complexity, cyclomatic complexity metrics. So we just started making jokes. It was like intro to buzzwords, and he was taking us so seriously about like billing and all this other stuff. And then this was like around the time the whole Harambe thing happened. So when we had to do our class project, someone in my group jokingly said we should do a game where you have to save Harambe from the zookeeper. So we made a game in Unity where it was like a 5-level maze where you had to like navigate a maze, and you had to get to the end of the maze before the zookeeper found the monkey. And then we took the joke a little bit further. We're like, we should do like a hype trailer for our game. So someone edited together a hype trailer where they took like a bunch of the Martin Shkreli clips and like made a montage out of it, completely out of context, where he's talking about like Harambe saving the world or whatever. And then we made a website to announce the game for this project. And we made like a fake development blog, but the running joke was that like HR was sending internal emails there and they didn't realize. So we just had like a bunch of internal looking HR emails being posted to the blog. And then like when we went up to present our project, we had like a bunch of people from other classes show up because it quickly spun out of control and like too many people learned about it. But we like jokingly showed off our development blog, and our development blog had like a bunch of discussions about like a company retreat and HR being disappointed in people for not or for like harassing each other too much. I forgot to change this link. Fantastic. Okay, so that's one thing. The create an account link isn't going to work. Neither is the login. So we'll just go to /users/sign-in, I think. Okay. Now, I don't know if this actually runs, so we're just going to try it. I don't think it will. Yeah, so we're going to have to create a actual account. Dean@example.com. Password. Okay, that works. We don't have the link for that. You can read the dev blog. If we click on new post, that's not going to work because we don't have access to that. Okay, so now we have to figure out how to do this seed thing. What's the best way to do that? To like run the seed whenever we deploy? Do we run it whenever we deploy, or do we only run it once? If we only run it once, how do we only run it once? Let's see. Do it in like the Docker entry point where we do the DB prepare. Let's see, bin, Docker entry point, DB prepare. Rails DB prepare. Populates the seed data. Huh. This is running bin/rails. So this should be running. Just migrate behavior. Okay. Above for us and prepare the database for the required uses. So this should do something, right? Rails DB drop. Rails DB prepare. Rails C. User.first. Okay, so that worked here. Also just realized there's no way to log out now. Okay, so let's come over to the home page. Let's fix some of these links. So this first one's going to be the destroy user, or sorry, the new user registration path. This other one's going to be the new user session path. New user session path. Exit out of here, do a bin/dev so we can mess around with this. Come over here, go to here, log in. Okay, admin@example.com. Password. Okay, that works. And then we also want a, let's do an edit profile, and then we can do the log out one. Let's come to the home page. Company website still doesn't have a logout button. Yeah, nothing like the logout button where you got to like clear your cache and delete your cookies just to be able to log out of your website. I love that. Okay, let's do this. Do cookies. Okay, log in. All right, this is still broken. /user/sign in. PR from 2 years ago. No one cares. Yeah, that sounds about right, unfortunately. Okay, log out. This isn't going to work because this is a get and it's using this. Oh, geez. This right here, this is one of the most annoying things that became a forced feature with Turbo. Having to do this data turbo _ method : delete, or sorry, delete. You're the one that needs to approve it. It's okay. Those are just details. No one needs to know. And let's also do a button here. So we'll say button 2. Oh, right, because we don't have any styling. Okay, so we'll click log out. Destroy user session path, turbo method delete. Button 2, turbo method delete, user sign out. Is this... Am I... Oh, so you don't need the turbo method anymore. Oh, thank God. Please tell me I'm right about that. Login. Okay, admin @example.com, password. Log out. Oh, it's so much better, though. It's so much better. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Make sure both of these work. Create account. That does. That does. And then we can figure out. I don't understand why this doesn't run. Is there a situation where DB prepare doesn't do the seed? The prepare command will load the scheme and run the remaining migrations. Okay. You got this. Yeah, we'll see. Be prepared. There will be no outputs and migrations. All right. Please, ChatGPT, please answer my questions. Let's see. Does DB prepare in Rails run DB migrate if the DB already exists and is migrated? Not DB migrated. I don't need to do this again. Run DB seed. Does it will run migrations. However, DB prepare does not automatically run DB seed. Okay. Run manually when needed. Okay, that's fine. Seeds file. Let's see. I'd like for this. It doesn't exist already. I think I know how we're going to do this, or at least how I'm going to do this. Rails. Huh. Okay. I guess I could do like a, let's see. Okay, let's do this. If it doesn't exist. Yeah, find or create by. And then we'll do this and we'll get rid of this. There we go. Okay. If I stop this and do a db:/seed. What? Migrate. Rails db:/seed. Users.password. User.find or create by. Oh, I'm being dumb again. And at example.com. Do user. Password. We need a password confirmation, and then we need the user.role. Can we just do a user.admin like that? And then Rails C. User.first. User.count. Okay, let's do a Rails DB seed. Rails C. User.count. Okay, so this works. And then I'll just make a very poor decision here, but it'll work for now. Come into our Docker entry point. /bin/rails db:/migrate. Okay, and then we can do our Kamal deploy to send this up to the server again. Your terminal has better autocomplete than VS Code. Yeah. That's I think it's a combination of some of the things they did with like Ruby 3, and also because I use ZSH, a lot of times I'll type a part of it and I'll hit the up arrow key because I know I've typed enough of it for the autocomplete to catch the command I'm looking for. The downside is sometimes I mess up and then you see me hit the up arrow key 30 times as I try and find the right scaffold that I'm trying to generate. Or I'll like hit the up arrow key and then I'll assume that that's what I'm supposed to do, but instead I've just like generated a scaffold that I didn't want to generate, and then I have to go in and clean up my code. So like it's hit and miss. It's really good and really fast when it works, but if you're not paying attention, like I often do, then it can be not great. I'm hoping that we can at least get this to a point where it's handled out of the box, and then we can wrap it up and get ready for this to be recorded as a video. I might mess around with like the Godot part of it. Make more than just a button this time. But that means I'm gonna have to find like, I don't know, a short and sweet game idea that I can cram into like a 10-minute video. Which is gonna be a challenge in and of itself. The Rails for React. I know you mentioned a Rails for React. I don't think you showed me Redwood. I think there was a different one. Or maybe you said like Rails for like Next.js or something. Because you said there was like a It was a really cool tool, but it's just like nobody uses it or it's not maintained. Generate scaffold. You see, the thing about Rails I really like is the scaffolds, because it handles so much of the crud stuff that I just don't want to deal with. Giving me something like this is getting into territory where, yeah, Blitz, that was it. Gotcha. Redwood's the successor. Okay. Give me something like this is where I'm like tempted to be like, oh, actually. Probably get yelled at for it, but it might be tempting to do something like, is this the Rails of React? And then just do a video on it where I show off a React framework. Sure, that would go over well. admin@example.com. Password. Oh, I did it again. Yeah, they probably won't be happy with me. All right, everyone point and laugh. I typed migrate instead of seed again. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? This is where a lesser man would not be as tempted as I am. This is the part in the development cycle when my strategy just becomes put another window on top of it and then forget about it. Because I hate the wait for the deploys. Wonder if there's like Godot for example projects, demo projects. Maybe what I do is I grab a Godot demo project and I host that. Oh, they're hosted on GitHub Pages. Interesting. Okay. I don't know what I expected. Oh, this one has music. Yeah, maybe I do one of these. Because I checked earlier. Let me see. You can go to the actual game in your browser. And like, it's not great, but let's see. It does somewhat load up on your phone as well. So it is like mobile compatible. That might be interesting. Do like a mobile browser based game. You could probably do like probably post the browser based. Okay, you post the browser based Godot game to your website. And then you do like a mobile app that just grabs the web page and pretends it's an app. Then you could do a mobile app developed with Godot and Rails, like a mobile game. That sounds so over-engineered. It's so good. What's a good school which school is good for start software developer? It depends on what you're trying to go for. If you're going to go for self-taught, you usually have a couple options. One is, YouTube, Google. Boot camps can work. They can be hit and miss, though. I've definitely had, I've met good boot camp developers before. But I've also met a lot of people that were taken advantage of by boot camps. CS degree can work. I don't really think your school matters too much there. You're gonna get out of it what you put into it. So, if you're going to a school, you learn a lot of theory, but you don't spend a lot of time with the practical side of things, you're probably going to graduate and still run into problems. It's not like problems you can't learn yourself. If you're a junior dev and you started a company, like the first 3 to 6 months, they're not going to expect you to be even slightly productive. So like that's not a terribly bad idea or a terrible like setback if you don't understand the practical side of development after a CS degree. Because like the theory carries you a long way and they appreciate the fact that you understand that. But then you're looking at like a $70,000 tuition cost. And like for boot camps, you're probably looking at 20 to 30 these days, depending on the boot camp, which is also not ideal. And yeah, as far as spending money on like online resources, that's always a very questionable approach. Wasted my life learning 30 plus programming languages. Maybe I can help. Yeah, I really thought learning Lisp would be more helpful than it's been. Okay, we have an admin account. Beautiful. Do 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 do. Let me see. Learn Prolog. I have no idea. That's a rough one. If I never work, how do I start? That's unfortunately what is happening. It's unfortunately where they get you in a lot of cases. Password is invalid. No, it's not. It's right here. Update. Oh, I see. Okay. There we go. Okay. I can bring this back over. Okay. Now routes. We're going to go to posts index. Question mark. And then we can just in here do this. And then the show page. We can do this. We go bin/dev over here. Again. Admin at example.com, password. And then come over to the blog. New post is visible here, but if I come over here, oh, this is right here. Okay, that works. That, and then, yeah, in here. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, and then I'm all deploying in. It's going to depend on like the pay will depend on where you live and like what you end up doing. Like even in the US, it can vary wildly. And yeah, like if you do like freelance work, you might charge by project instead of by hour. Or you have like, I don't know, profit sharing or something. Texas? Okay. I don't know, because like I lived in Austin at one point. I'd say like the jobs I was looking at that point, fresh out of college, were probably around like 80 to 85, but I have no idea if that's still like what it's like down there. That was like just what seemed to me like a reasonable average across different languages and stuff for like a junior at the time. Right now, with everyone going super lean, it could be lower, but that was also a couple of years ago, so it could be higher as well. If let me just do this. Location, Austin, Texas. Yeah, this is what I usually do. Like if I'm trying to figure out something like this, or if I'm trying to figure out what people are hiring for, I just go to Indeed, type in the role, type in the location, and I just kind of scroll through and see. So like maybe I scroll through here and I see a lot of people in the area near me are like hiring for TypeScript. And I'm like, okay, well, TypeScript has quite the demand. Might make sense to go learn that. And then I look at the pay. Now, the problem with the pay is in a lot of cases, they don't show it. And you don't want to be looking at like principal engineers because, of course, they're going to get paid a bunch. Yeah, again, it's the problem with like a pay question is it's largely going to vary even from now until the time you learn enough to get hired for that type of role. So like right now, you could look this up, you could see what the average salary is, but like a year or two from now, it might be completely different. Yeah, and the other part of it is after you learn web development, it becomes a part of your personality, and then you have to control yourself when you talk to normal people. Okay, so let me go back here. Let me see what else we have. Interviews, it depends on the company. I've interviewed at one company where my interview process was, whoa, you have a YouTube channel? And then they just kind of talked to me for a bit and then I got an offer. And then I've had others where I've had to go through like 8 rounds of interviews. And I questioned my sanity the entire way. And like by 8 rounds, I mean like they were difficult questions. But it's also going to vary based on salary. Because a lot of the higher paying positions, they're going to ask probably going to ask a lot of questions that are just unreasonable. If you're like getting a job as a junior developer, I really wouldn't expect too difficult of a question. Maybe you get lucky, you get asked like a FizzBuzz question, or maybe you get something like I don't know, like find the nearest McDonald's within a 50-mile radius of somewhere, which is like take your problem space and then break it up and then keep subdividing it until you find it, which is all stuff that you'll learn as you start to learn to code. You get into like the dynamic programming questions and stuff. This would be an interesting one. I don't know. I have fun doing web development. But that might just be a pre-existing condition on my part. Undo. The dry throat's coming for me. Okay, let's come over here. Oops, come in here. Dev blog. So I can show. Oh, there's an edit button here too, of course. Okay, and then there we go. And like any type of layout shift drives me up the walls. That's a big one where I'm like, the ones that get me the most are the ads that load in like a second after the page loads, and you go to press a button and then the ad loads in and it causes you to click on something totally unrelated. And I'm like, do you people actually use your website? Like, how does this get past your UX team? It's so frustrating. Auto font loading. Automatically optimize your fonts or remove external network requests for improved privacy and performance. Huh. Wonder. Let's see. Is there a way to do that? Time every additional page loading website will then use the web font. Interesting. So there maybe is a way. It's definitely not as clean as this, though. Okay, let's see. Yeah, good luck. It's a long but rewarding journey. It will be a little bit frustrating, though. But that's part of the fun, I guess. It'd be interesting if we could take this project. Does Godot have a... I mean, it has to, right? Like, there's got to be a way to do this, right? There's no fun fixing bugs at 3 a.m. I gotta live a little. Kamal's not working at 3 a.m., then that just means I don't know how to paint this in a positive light. If Kamal's not working, then you're having a good good time. Maybe. I don't know. Wait, let's go back. Okay, so this works. And then if I come in here, now we just have the show page. Okay. We're good. I think now this is looking better. And then the only other thing we would want then is maybe like the author in here, and then maybe switch it from a body in the form to action text. Maybe. Do I want to do that? No, but I'll do it anyways. Migrate. Okay, let's do this. Rails action underscore, or wait, it's action text, it's G, right? Hold install. Okay, action text install. We then come in here to our post. This will has rich text content. Then come into our post controller. Do something like this. Then come into our form. I mean, we don't really need the body, right? We can just do this. Is it rich? Does this work out of the box? I can never remember with this. Oh, what's the problem? Not find image processing. Okay, gem file. Okay, bundle. Install this. Hopefully this works. Although it might not, depending on how this runs. I guess we'll see. Oops, let's come over here. Run the migrations. Test. ASD of 1, 2, 3. We'll bold it. Attach an image. Okay, create post. Then come into our post partial. Oh, wait, it's right here. And then switch this to content. Post.content. Like that. Could not open library libvips. Okay. Docker file libvips. Git install libvips. Like that. So yeah, this will work there because it's already in the Docker file. It's just not installed on my system. Which really, I should be developing this in a Docker file. I shouldn't be installing this on my system, but I don't care. Live a little. Make bad choices. Hey, there we go. Okay. So now we have the content and the title. Let's come into here and do P class equals my dash 5. Oh, I'm sure it is. Author. That. Posts. Okay, and then we have to do post.rb, and then this has to belongs to a user. User.rb. We'll need to as many posts. Over here, email is now nil. Come in here. If post.user that. Okay. New post, and then in the post controller, create action at post.user equals current user. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Create post. Need the migration. Rails G migration. Add user to post. User : references. Rails DB : migrate. bin/dev. Oh, wait. It was upset. Of course. There we go. bin/dev. Okay, and now this one has an author, but the others don't. Okay. All deploy. There we go. Oh, I love doing this. Another 170, 180 seconds. How old is that photo at this point? 4 or 5 years old? Five years old, probably, I think. It's just become the photo I use for everything. It was from when I was in Texas at the time. It started off as a meme, and then it became like the comfort photo. GitHub profile photos from 2018. That's how it goes, though. They just you upload the photo, you forget about it, and then it just takes over. One phone where I look great. I use it for everything. Yeah. Well, like part of the problems with photos, at least what I've found, is there's usually, I mean, there's a couple factors of it. One is the lighting. People aren't good with like lighting their photos. The other one is like if it's rotated the other way from what they're used to seeing themselves, they won't like it. And the third one is, this is one that a lot of people don't know, you usually look like weird if you're using like a phone photo, as opposed to like if you're using like the selfie photo, as opposed to like a what is it, like a 30, I think a 30 millimeter lens is the one that actually makes you look like a normal person. Like for me, I start to look like a potato if I take a photo with like my selfie from my phone. I look better if I use like the back end of the camera from like a little bit of a distance away. And then if I use like a 30 millimeter and like my DSLR camera, I'm like, oh wow, all these photos are great. And I think it's just because like it's probably closer to what I see when I look in the mirror when I use like a proper lens and proper lighting, as opposed to whatever I do with my phone. Look weird in photos and look weirder in real life. I think you're selling yourself short. That's how I used to feel until I took a couple photos with my DSLR using a proper lens and proper lighting. And then I was like, oh my God. And that's actually what I did for that photo, this one. So it was like a DSLR. It looks super close, but the camera was probably like 15 feet away from me. And I was just like, oh, interesting. I took a couple more photos like that, and I was like, oh, it's because the phone has potato quality. Or I guess it just, I don't know, it like condenses it. And you can find stuff like online if you look at like selfies with different focal lengths. You can see like how the face shape changes depending on like which millimeter of your camera lens you use. So like the narrower the focal length, the more you start to look like. My favorite example is like the Zuckerberg I'm in my backyard with my Traeger grill type of selfie, where you feel super skinny in that type of selfie. And it's probably because you're using like your cell phone. One of those weird things you learn as you're learning to make like YouTube videos and stuff. Start looking up the cameras and you're like, oh, I see. GitHub.new. I'm gonna name this Godot Kamal demo. Already have one of those. Of course I do. I probably made it yesterday when I was like, this is gonna work right away. Let me see. Godot Kamal, there it is. Yep, I did do it yesterday. Okay. Push the code up there. That way for anyone who cares, they can go look at it. But again, this will be in like a video, so I wouldn't stress about it too much. I wouldn't worry about watching back the live stream or anything like that. Just wait for the video to come out. It'll be like 10 minutes of your time as opposed to 6 hours. Well, I guess now like 8 hours, whatever we're at. 8.5. Eight and a half hours for something that should have taken 2. Oh, man. Watch it again for the memes. I mean, it was really funny because there were quite a few times where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that's all it takes. It's going to work now. Sounded like one of those super over-eager, over-enthusiastic junior devs that thinks that every time they make a change, that's going to be the fix for like the super involved company ticket that's been an issue for 3 years. They're just like so convinced that like everyone else just overlooked whatever. And they're just like, no. See, the reason why the multi-threading bug happens is because you're multi-threading. Just make it single-threaded and then you won't have race conditions. And then they like put up that code commit. And they're like, I solved the problem, everyone. That was me last night. I was like, yeah, I just got rid of multi-threading and now we don't have race conditions anymore. Not that I'm speaking from example or anything. Totally didn't have something similar happen at work. My only complaint here is that I wish that... Not my only complaint. One of my complaints. I wish that this was a little bit faster and that it did a bit more caching. Remember that time a junior developer fixed the bug by deleting the code? Yeah, had a couple of those too. There was a lot of like... I think that's part of the... Did you manage to fix the Kamal problem you had yesterday? Yeah, I ended up like reinstalling everything. It looks like it's just whatever this Linux distro is. When Kamal creates its own container, that build container where it builds the image of your application is breaking in this Linux distro, but here it's working just fine. So I don't know how that even broke in the span of 4 days, but I must have done something, or like something broke somewhere. Yeah, I was playing around with it for like 3 or 4 hours today before I managed to fix it. Now it works great though. Hoping this finishes soon so I can push the code up. It'd be great. did do a deploy, right? So why is this? I feel like this is taking longer than it usually does. Or at least longer than it did last week. I shouldn't say usually. I've only done this once before. But yeah, if anyone wants to check it out, once again, you can go to deanout.com. The application's up right now. It's being updated right now, but like everything on there is up and running, so. Hey, there we go. Can't post. Yeah, one of the consequences of the admin changes. Okay, so let's say I don't know, like real post, and then let's look up like a lorem ipsum generator. Generate 5 paragraphs. Copy them. Paste them in here. Bold a couple words. And then let's come over to Unsplash. Grab an image of, I don't know, space. Okay, and then come over here. Insert an image. Like that. We can come over here. Yeah, they probably think something's wrong with this droplet because it's still alive. Paste in our caption. Way more complicated than it needed to be. Okay, there we go. Create post. Beautiful. We even have images working now. So we come over to our dev blog. All that stuff's there. Everything's working. Okay. Let's do a git status. Git add dot. Git commit. Hold on. I'll make sure I'm not uploading anything I shouldn't be here. Okay, that one's fine. Let's throw something into here. Think we're fine. Just want to make sure that I'm not like accidentally uploading something that belongs to someone, just giving away their stuff for free. Oh no. Oh no, I've come into existence. Hey. That's me. It's me from Supernatural. Oh, that's funny. That was one of the first things I did when they announced the Bing AI was I went on there and I tried to get it to like pull content from my blog or from my YouTube channel just to see like if it was parsing it. And it took like 3 or 4 tries, and eventually I got like links to my YouTube videos. I got direct quotes out of my blog posts. I was like, I see how it is. Finally get to catch one of these live. What's up? Not much. We're just I'm trying to push the code up right now for this. We got a basic Godot on Rails thing working. I'm nobody, so I can't do that. I mean, I'll be honest. When I found out that you can pretty much dox someone if you look up political voting histories, I was like, you know, maybe having a reputation online isn't such a good idea. There's a couple areas where I had to go through and like remove my address because I guess you go to vote and then they just have access to that information and they just straight up dox you on a website somewhere. I was like, oh, great. So you can't even vote without like repercussions. And like, you know, all of the other stuff that comes with it. Like, oh, you need a P.O. box. You don't have your address out there. You need to what was it? You don't take like packages from your P.O. box back to your place because they might have included like a air tag in it. It's just, at this point, I'm like, maybe having image online isn't the best idea. Maybe we should all just become VTubers and just hide our info. Init commit. Oops. Git commit -m init commit. There we go. Then we can do a git push. Well, wait, we don't want to git push here. We want to, there's that beep again. I'm going to grab this and then paste this in. And this will take a minute for the Godot stuff, but aside from that, we should be good. Okay, there we go. And now there's no env file in here that can hurt me, I think, right? Yeah. And config deploy.yaml does have the IP address in it. It's not a big deal, but I don't want like 1.2.3.4. I don't want whoever's IP that ends up being in the future to like have to deal with this. So we'll do that. At least for now. And then when I delete this later, for the video, then it won't be an issue. But yeah, we have like this working. You can go to, I feel like I posted this like 30 times. You can go to deanout.com and you can take a look at what we built. If you search my Google, you just find my GitHub account with the most garbage PR you've ever seen in your entire life. I don't know. You can see some of my PRs, which end up being init commit, but the initial commit is a little bit more than an initial commit with some of the worst code you'll ever see. Definitely not something to write home about. That was like a point of pride for me when I first started out, was like trying to get my the actual website to appear in like search results. When I launched this blog, I was sitting there for so long. I was like, okay, I have to make sure every single page has like the SEO it needs. We're gonna get this on the front page of Google. It'll be so cool when people like look up Deanin or whatever. And then I like posted a couple of videos and made blog posts for those videos. And the traffic I got from that, it just immediately like already like started out competing my videos in Google search results. And I was like, oh, I didn't have to do any of that SEO stuff. All I had to do was post actual meaningful content that people like wanted to go see. So weird how backwards it is, because you look it up and you see all these people that give like SEO advice and stuff. And you think you got to do all the hoops and stuff that the growth experts are talking about or whatever. And then like, you don't have to do that. Go set up a WordPress website, install the Yoast SEO plugin, do the bare minimum, and just move on with your life. Okay. That's good. Let's close that. Haven't done SEO and hope you never have to. Yeah, it's way more pain than it's worth. The Yoast stuff is even pretty annoying because you go to like make a text-based tutorial, and what you run into is like the recommended length for each paragraph, or the recommended length for the total amount of text between two header sections in your blog post. And it's so frustrating. Or like, oh, 3 of your paragraphs start with the same word, so the search engine might think you're just like keyword stuffing or something. Or like it's passive language. It's just, I like writing, and it's too much for me. I can't imagine what it's like if you just don't want to do that. You just want to write like a technical blog post and have it seen by people. It's got to be so frustrating. But again, that's one of those things where like I've talked about SEO a couple times, I think, but I try not to go into it too much because I think by and large people focus on it too much. And we've seen the results in terms of like what's happened to the Google search results when people focus on SEO too much. Like now you can't even use Google anymore. It's just been completely corrupted by the people that are like playing the algorithm as best they can. Here we go. Is it this one? No, this one. I think I click on it. And does this show me what I'm looking for? Maybe. Yeah, here we go. This is what I was looking for. So like you install WordPress, or you set up WordPress, you have like your plugin, right? Your Yoast plugin. And then it gives you this feedback where it tells you for your SEO, like what's your, set up your focus key phrase, which you have to make sure you use a bunch. Hey Silverine, how's it going? Yep, it's some Rails stuff. Some Rails stuff and some WordPress tangents and some Godot as well. But yeah, like it tells you like, here's your preview, here's your SEO title, your slug, make sure your slug has your key phrase in it to some extent, make sure your meta description has your key phrase in it. And then there's like a whole analysis in here. Like I don't have internal links, so I'm getting hammered for that. And I don't have a key phrase in the subheading because I got to use it more in H2s and H3s. And then like all of these other things are accounted for, which gives me the little green check mark, which is what I meant by like doing the bare minimum. I just try and get like the green check mark. And if there's a couple red things, I don't care about those. But like some of these are just, they're so annoying. Like your key phrase density and all that other stuff. And then for like readability, this is the one that probably gets a lot of people annoyed, is like passive voice or consecutive sentences, making sure you're not repeating the same subheadings and all that other stuff. Only use divs and be proud of that. Hey, if it works for you. Dealing with like the accessibility stuff that was not a fun job. Going from like divs to semantic HTML. And then at the end of the day, everyone just used like a tablet anyways. Ask what you're doing because Rails, Godot, and WordPress don't go together. Yeah, I was just looking at my website. We were talking about SEO. The Rails and Godot stuff is largely up and running. So we have like a Godot game. You can see it at like deanout.com. Here, I'll just post it again. You can go there and you can see like the Godot game is running in the web app. So you can like actually, I mean, there's no game to play. It's just like a little button you can click with some animated water. But that's like working in the web app. And then that's hosted with Kamal and Rails on a DigitalOcean droplet. React, Aria, and Redux to avoid accessibility and browser defaults. Gotcha. All I really wish we had more just like component libraries for Rails. Especially more open source stuff would be nice. Although I think someone said they were like open sourcing their component library the other day, so we might see that in a couple weeks. It's going to be like a Vue component library, maybe a Vue component library, I should say. But yeah, I think this is good for video. For what day is it? Oh, it's Friday, so this is good for a video for later today when I can sit down to record. And then the Linktree stuff, I have to rewrite it, so we'll probably do a stream on that, recreating the entire app and taking notes while we go, making sure the course is up to date, and then moving it over to Tailwind, and then adding the social links probably next week if I had to guess. And then once that's done, then I can start actually recording the course stuff again. We can do like a proper course for it. That'll be good. And then I'm going to start working on the bigger Rails projects because I want to do a couple like actual beginner series where we start from scratch. You install it, you get it up and running, and then you like step through a proper application. You learn all of the generators and stuff. It's pretty overcomplicated to me. Yeah, it's one of those projects that I'm doing that really shouldn't be as complicated as it is, but you have these ideas sometimes and you're like, ooh, I want to do that. Here's my company code base. This is starting to look like Lisp code here. Just a bunch of parentheses. Simple viewer React project. Yeah, I mean, that's half the fun though. I love doing this. We were talking about that like yesterday, that some of the funniest projects are like hooking up a Rails server to a Minecraft computer, just because it's like the weird limitations you have to work with and then seeing like what you can get away with. It's always fun. That said, again, Kamal in its current state when it actually works. This was pretty cool. It was very, very nice to work with today. Yesterday, not so nice. I would never want to do that ever again. That's the code for the context menus. Gotcha. I did like a custom. I mean, compared to this, the context menu like that I did was nothing special, but I did like a weird little custom context menu. Whole code for registering items. Back in front end DB layer. Good grief. Yeah, for me, it was like a 22-minute video on doing these weird custom context menus. And then at the end of it, I was like, this is still so scuffed. Like there's still so many things I would improve if I had more time to do it. But then it ends up being like an hour-long tutorial where you're doing the small polish, or you're copying and pasting in a bunch of code. And then you get the people that leave comments that are like, I have no idea what you're doing. I can't follow this. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close this and this. All right. I think I'm going to call it early tonight because I have to get up a little bit earlier in the morning. I'm hoping that means that tomorrow I'll be able to go live at a reasonable time. And then next week we can start going live at like 5 or 6 Eastern. And then everyone can get some sleep, hopefully. Not that I don't love, breaking everything until like 6 in the morning. Let me see. Where is it? Go over here. Developers don't sleep. Yeah, I might not sleep, but I gotta go recharge. Gotta go make a run to the store for some Red Bull. Yeah, goodbye. Take it easy. Thank you everyone for coming out.